Dear viewers, let me get this straight. The ruling alliance in Maharashtra, the Mahayuti, has three partners: BJP, Shiv Sena, NCP. Together, they control the state government. Together, they won a massive mandate in the 2024 assembly elections. Together, they are supposed to be running Maharashtra. But last week, in Satara, they beat each other up. Not metaphorically, not in press conferences, not in Twitter wars, physically. A sitting cabinet minister, Shambhuraj Desai, who holds the tourism and mining portfolio and is the guardian minister of Satara, was pushed around by police. His hand was allegedly bleeding. His colleagues were dragged away from the entrance of a building where they had every legal right to be. Two elected representatives were sitting in a hospital on camera telling the world they were assaulted while in police custody. And who benefits from all of this? Their own ally, the BJP. Welcome to Maharashtra Politics in 2026. Hello, I'm Tejas and you're watching On a Stake. Stay with me because this one is something else entirely. But before we start, you know the drill. Please subscribe to Lokmat Times if you haven't already and press the bell icon to never miss an update. Let's rewind a little because to understand Satara, you need to understand what Mahayuti has become. 3 years ago, the Mahayuti alliance was sold to Maharashtra as a stability project. Eknath Shinde split Shiv Sena, Ajit Pawar split NCP. The narrative was, these are mature, practical leaders who understand governance. They are setting aside petty ego to serve the people of Maharashtra. Beautiful story, except here is what actually happened. Shinde's Sena and Ajit Pawar's NCP agreed to be junior partners in a coalition where BJP calls most of the shots. In return, they got ministries, positions and the occasional photo op with the Prime Minister. Everyone shook hands, everyone smiled for the cameras. But power doesn't work on smiles. Power works on arithmetic, and in Maharashtra's local bodies, the ZPs, the municipal councils, the Gram Panchayats, that arithmetic gets very, very personal. Because at the local level, it's not about ideology. It's not about Hindutva or development or any of the grand narratives you hear in state assembly debates. At the local level, it is about who controls the contracts, who decides the road work, who signs off on the school building, who gets the commissions. And when all three allies want that same pie in the same district, the smiles disappear very fast. Now, Satara Zilla Parishad, 65 seats, BJP 124, NCP 123, Shiv Sena 115. Simple maths, Sena and NCP together have 38 seats, BJP has 24. Sena and NCP decided to go together. In a democracy, 38 is bigger than 24. They both sat down, did the numbers and said, we will run this ZP. We will elect our own president. We will keep BJP out. Fair enough. Unusual, yes, given that they are technically allies, but not unprecedented. Local body politics has always been messier than state level politics. What happened next, however, is where Maharashtra wrote new history. BJP apparently decided that the numbers on paper are not the final word. The night before the president-vice president election, a resort in Mahabaleshwar where Sena NCP had kept their members together to prevent poaching suddenly became a crime scene. A kidnapping case, members being held against their will, very serious allegations. The police showed up late at night and two NCP members, Anil Desai and Sandeep Mandve, were taken into custody. By morning, they were in a hospital, not in the voting hall, and miraculously, the BJP won by 3 votes. 3 votes. Now, I'm not saying the timing was suspicious. I'm just saying that if the police had shown up to investigate this alleged kidnapping a week earlier or a day later, 2 elected representatives would have been able to exercise their fundamental democratic right to vote. But they did not. They showed up the night before the most important vote in Satara's local body calendar. What a coincidence. But here is the moment that really gets me. The moment that should make every person watching this uncomfortable. On the day of the election, Shambhuraj Desai, Cabinet Minister, Guardian Minister of Satara District, went to the ZP premises to escort his members inside so they could vote. That's it. That's all he was doing, walking his party's elected members into a building where an election was happening. The police stopped him. Not just stopped, allegedly pushed him, blocked with batons held horizontally like a human wall. Desai says he was bleeding from his hand. His colleague Makarand Patil was also caught in the scuffle. The members they were trying to escort were physically pulled away and taken back towards the police station. Think about what you just heard. A sitting minister of Maharashtra could not enter a government building in his own guardian district. Police who report to the state government in which his party sits. physically prevented him from doing so. And those police were apparently not acting on anyone in Mahayuti's instructions, according to BJP. They were just doing their job. Sure, here is the uncomfortable truth that nobody in the ruling alliance wants to say out loud. Maharashtra's political culture has been declining for years, not suddenly, gradually. Each election cycle, the bar drops a little lower. The Ayaram Gayaram defection era of 1970s, where MLAs switched sides like they were changing shirts, feels almost quiet now. At least those defections were somewhat visible, somewhat debated. What we have seen in the last 5 to 6 years in Maharashtra is a systematic dismantling of every norm. In 2019, we watched an alliance that won an election lose opportunity to form government because one partner refused to give its ally the chief minister's post, triggering a bizarre three-way coalition nobody had voted for. In 2022, we watched an entire political party get split using the disqualification process as a weapon, with the speaker's chair itself becoming a political football. In 2023, we watched it happen again with another party. And now, in 2026, in a Zilla Parishad election in Satara, we are watching the police, Maharashtra's law enforcement, become the instrument through which one ruling partner outmaneuvers the another. The opposition did not do this to Mahayuti. Mahayuti did this to Mahayuti. The Mahavikas Aghadi, Congress, Uddhav Thackeray's Sena, Sharad Pawar's NCP did not need to show up in Satara and conspire against anyone. They just had to watch because their opponents were busy fighting themselves. And while all of this was happening, while ministers were bleeding at ZP gates and members were sitting in hospitals and police actions were being questioned, nobody stopped to ask the most basic question. What about Satara? The Satara Zilla Parishad controls roads, schools, water supply, health centers across district. Lakhs of people depend on it for basic services. The president and vice president of this body are supposed to be accountable to those people. Instead, the election that was meant to put those people's representatives in charge of their district became a midnight thriller about resort politics, kidnapping FIRs, and police operations. The citizens of Satara did not vote for any of this. What they got was a political drama that will now be tied up in legal challenges, anti-defection proceedings, and cabinet-level battles for months, if not longer. Local democracy is always the first casualty when state-level power games come to town. And in Maharashtra, state-level power games never really leave the town. So where does this leave us? BJP has Satara ZP now. They won it by 3 votes, with 2 opposition members in a hospital and a minister bleeding at the gate. They will say this is politics. They will say they played hardball and won. Shivendra Singh Raje Bhosle will hold a press conference and talk about the strength of BJP's organizational machinery. Shambhuraj Desai will go back to his ministry. He will sit in the same cabinet with the same BJP ministers whose party just ran circles around him in his own district. He will smile for the cameras. He will talk about Mahayuti's unity, and Satara will go back to waiting for its road to be fixed. Maharashtra has seen a lot in the last few years. Split parties, early morning swearing-in ceremonies, Supreme Court hearings about who is the real Shiv Sena and NCP, loyalties sold, history rewritten. But in Satara last week, something new happened. The government used the machinery of the state against itself. And it worked. That's not just a low point for Maharashtra politics. That's a warning about where we are headed if nobody stops and says enough is enough. This was your honest take with me, Tejas. I'll be back when the next thing breaks, which at this rate should be sometime tomorrow. Until then, share this, comment your views, and keep watching Lokmat Times for more such stories.